Welcome to Outdoor Unfiltered. Today I sit down with Gear Abbey herself, Shawnté Salabert, to share our impressions of Switchback 2026 in New Orleans last week. Later in the pod, I'm joined by Switchback event director Sean Smith to share his impressions and break some news about a time change for next year's Switchback. This special episode is also going out on the Gear Abbey feed. So before we get into our conversation, I'd like to introduce any new listeners. This is Outdoor Unfiltered, where we dig beyond the PR speak to see what's really going on in the outdoor industry. Not just what happened, but why it happened and why it matters. I'm Eoin Comerford, a former CEO, advisor to outdoor brands, and consigliere to the rock fight. Each Monday morning, a new episode drops that covers my take on key outdoor industry stories from the week and an interview with someone interesting from outdoor retail, brands, trade shows, and organizations. Future guests include leaders from locally, Patagonia, Rumpl, Founded Outdoors, and many more. So if you want to keep these episodes coming, search on Outdoor Unfiltered wherever you get your pods. We're the top business pod for the industry, so we pop right up. Okay, here's my conversation with Shawnté. Okay, so I am sitting here with the amazing Shawnté Salabert, the queen of thru-hiking, apparently, Gear Abbey herself. Maybe we'll do this where we'll go back to the beginning of the show. So when did you get in?
I got in late because my plane got delayed because we came in during a torrential downpour, as it turns out, good old monsoon season. But I got in yesterday, so day 0, right as the film screening was ending.
Oh, okay.
So womp womp, you're gonna have to carry day 0 on your own.
I will carry it. So so I got in, about 11 in the morning, headed to check-in, got a lovely little media-only bag,
Oh,
which was
yes,
lovely.
media only. Is that like OnlyFans?
Very similar, but way less exciting. But no, it was a lovely little bag of things. And then we went to the media room, and there was, lo and behold, we had a bunch of swag.
The media room was amazing.
Yes.
After I got my badge, I popped in there just to get the lay of the land, see where I might be working. I was like, well, hello. There's some brands I knew, and then there was some brands I did not know. I got a nice pair of Smith Sunnies, Lux Fly, backpacking meals.
Yes.
We'll talk about that a little bit later because I did end up at their booth today, and I was pretty blown away.
There we go. Okay.
Putting a pin in that.
Okay, good. But if you had listened to the Rock Fight podcast, where we covered Lux Fly at Discovery Marketplace, but no, that's fine. I'm not hurt at all. But okay, no, fine. So anyway, so I'm in a good mood.
Why are you in a good mood?
Because I love free shit. I mean, come on.
I thought you were going to say because we just wrapped up happy hour on day 1.
Well, that too. Free shit and free booze is also always great. Okay, so Education Day was, we had a really nice kickoff with the Switchback team, Kent from OIA, and then, Oh, really?
Just once, I just had to scratch the itch. Okay. I'm sorry, Kent.
Yeah, okay, that's Shawnté.
They'll never hire me for anything.
Okay. Anywho, so then the inimitable Kelly Davis gets up and gives sort of the latest and greatest U.S. participation report, which good news is there's more people participating. Bad news is frequency is down. And so we had a great conversation about that. I'll probably cover that on a different pod. But Kelly's great. She's a great presenter, and for a math nerd, really knows how to put the numbers out there in a fun way. So that was great. And then we had breakout sessions. Yours truly did one on e-commerce and specialty retail, hosted by some guy from Garage Vogel from Okay, so wasn't familiar with him, but apparently people know him.
Yeah, he likes to talk.
No, but that was a good session, and then I went to one on tariffs, which was great with my buddy Cassie Abel from Fjällräven. So I thought the breakouts were great, and there was lots of different things for different people. And then, actually, as you arrived, I left because I had to go back and do my real job for a while.
I'm sorry, you have a real job, Owen?
I do. So you made it for the end of the film session, right?
I did, but barely the end. So I have nothing of quality to add there. But I did hear from people today that it was fantastic and I missed something really great. Somebody, I forget who it was, told me they cried. And it was not a person that I think of as a crier.
Okay.
So they're like, you should watch it. I'm like, I love to cry, so I'm all in.
To our listeners who may not know this, so it was a film session about, really, it was inclusivity in the outdoors, but specifically around adaptive elements to bring people outdoors who wouldn't otherwise be able to enjoy the outdoors. So sounds like an amazing movie. There was beer and popcorn apparently, so sorry I missed it. But that was great. But I did make the beer and
The
whatever
welcome party.
At the welcome party.
The welcome party
yes.
at Generations Hall,
which was
one
great.
of the many halls of New Orleans. Yeah, that was fantastic. I remember, so first Switchback last year, the welcome party really, I feel like, is where everybody came together. I mean, it's this sense of celebration. We're all here, we're all doing this thing, and we're all excited to see each other. I mean, I know some people just saw each other at, GOA? But I think there's still that sense of excitement in the air. And so it was fun for me to like kind of roll into that, see a bunch of people I knew. They had some good food, some great booze. Right. But it's, I mean, to me, the welcome party is what Switchback, and it's not all that Switchback is about, but it's the overarching idea that we're here to be together. And it's something, I feel like we've been talking about this for, I don't know, the last 15 years of trade shows. Like, what is the purpose of a trade show beyond sales? Like, is there a purpose? Yes, there is a purpose beyond sales. And I think it's for all of us to get together and be in the same room,
right.
And we'll talk about this more a little bit, I think, at the end of the show today. But yeah, the welcome party felt like that. And especially as I had my second French 75, it felt even better.
Even better. So then to this morning, we had the TCA presentation, the Conservation Alliance, which is an homage to when there was the TCA breakfast at OR.
Always, like, to me, that was always kind of the function of the welcome party at Switchback was the TCA breakfast at OR. Everybody's getting together, let's sit together, let's watch this thing. But also it gives you this message, I think, of, it's meant to be like a little inspirational nudge. And
sure.
I think that's exactly what was accomplished this morning. Griffin Post, North Face skier, has done some incredible stuff, told this great story about basically his treasure hunt for this lost gear from an expedition of, yore.
Right.
and then they tied it into conservation. I was waiting for the tie, and I was like,
right.
all right, where are we going with this? But I feel like that's the function of that was always the function of the Conservation Alliance breakfast at OR. I feel like they got it here. It's like a little bit of, hey, get out there and do your thing. Do it for all of us, and let's all do it together.
Okay, good. They landed the plane.
They landed the plane. The plane did come in.
Pun intended if you were at the show.
That's true.
Okay, so on to the main event, which is the...
Happy hour. Oh, I'm sorry.
No, before that, Shawnté,
oh, right. There was a whole day, wasn't there?
There was a whole day. That was the exhibit hall,
yes.
where there were exhibitors and people walking the aisles. So we haven't talked about this beforehand.
I know, this is kind of exciting.
So,
will we agree? Will we disagree? Will there be a cage match? Are we on the front lawn of the White House? I don't know.
No and no, and probably never. So what was your take? What was your take on the vibe, the buzz, the traffic, what have you?
All right, so my honest first impression, it's a larger show. There's more, almost double, I think, the amount of exhibitors than there were at Switchback 1, which is what I'm calling it in my head.
Sure.
So they brought more people to the party. It's also a bigger space.
Yes.
And so there is the trick of managing a space that big with the amount of exhibitors there were. It does feel more spacious, and that can feel less buzzy, I think. Like Switchback 1 felt super buzzy. Everyone was excited. This was an unknown quantity other than, being at TRE.
Right.
And I feel like there was an electricity when people went in Nashville. But I still feel like overall, I was like, okay, there's a chillness to the event. I still feel like it has that same magic of being able to talk to anybody you want if you make the effort. Whether or not you have an appointment, whether or not you know the person, I do think you still have the ability to run into people and have conversations you might not have at a larger, busier show.
It definitely felt less busy than Switchback 1. And I talked to probably 20 different brands later in the day.
Yeah.
Kind of like, how was it? How was the day? And somebody actually made the point, hey, the aisles here are probably 50% bigger than the aisles were in the last place. The last place, we were shoehorned in.
We were pretty, it felt a little more busy because of that,
I think because there was less room in the aisles. So I'm like, okay, a little bit, but I do feel that the quantity of retailers still isn't to where it needs to be truly the quote-unquote national show. Now, I talked to a bunch of brands. The general comment I got back was it was quality over quantity.
Yes.
That maybe it wasn't super busy. They didn't have 30 conversations. Maybe they had, of meaning, maybe they had 6 or 7, but they were meaningful conversations with meaningful people. REI was here, Backcountry was here, etc.
MEC was here, right?
MEC was here, right?
I mean, that's a big one.
So I think there were some good conversations that were had, but the volume of specialty retailers maybe wasn't here.
Right. I think that's what I heard too. I mean, definitely, and I would say you're right. It was toward the end of the day as I was talking to people, there were a few little like, okay, we have to try to make this work and like make it make sense financially for us to continue investing in Switchback and continue coming back. And that is the thing, is like, for as much as I love talking about the togetherness and all of that, it does come down to the, money.
Sure.
And making a sound investment in where you're putting your trade show dollars. And I do think that's still something that's going to have to grow, right?
We talk about trade show timing ad fucking nauseam, excuse me, in this industry.
Boring.
Sorry, but I mean, it is an issue, and there's probably as many opinions as there are potential timings for the show. But the reality is this particular show was the week after GOA,
right?
Which is a 5 to 6 day show, depending on how you play it, and was on top of 3 regional shows, including the Greenville regional show, which basically covers the whole of the Southeast.
Right,
so
that's a big
a lot
deal.
of the special retailers that could have easily come here from the Southeast of America,
right,
were at that show,
yeah,
right, and so the timing is a challenge, and I think until they solve that, I think it's going to be harder to get those specialty retailers to show up.
Right. But I think like when I think of Switchback as a whole, I want this to be the national show. I think there's so much heart behind it, and I think there's so much potential behind it. And I will say, I feel like we saw a few more larger brands at the show this time around. But I think also you get all of these up and coming brands, and that's really, especially if you do get specialty retail here, but having the REIs and having the Max, I mean, that's a big deal. So having that showcase for smaller brands, it does feel like a really good place for that, but you also need buy-in from the bigger brands, and you need buy-in from the retailers.
Yeah, because I think though for the bigger brands, they can justify it from the sense of, hey, it's part of a bigger budget.
Sure.
It's part of the togetherness aspect.
Yeah.
If you're a small emerging brand, right, where you're paying whatever it is, $3,000 for a booth potentially, plus travel and all the things, right? And it's not just the booth cost. You've got to pay whatever the rates are to have an extension cord or have a bit of carpet. I mean, it all adds up in a hurry. And so for those brands, I think it is important that retailers show. And so I think the timing is going to be important there. Although, again, I talked to a number of emerging brands who the commentary was the same. It was quality over quantity, that while they didn't talk to 50 buyers, they may have actually written 5 orders. So, so I think it's interesting from that perspective, but it's still a bit of a head scratcher. Beyond the traffic and the retail thing, any other observations about the show?
I think it did a good job, again, of highlighting the smaller brands and the emerging brands. There was a whole Garage Grown Gear sponsored section this time around, which I liked that tie-in. I thought that's great.
Yep.
They could have done a little better with some of the always, I feel like the folks in the back and in the wings just get forgotten. Right, They're behind a column somewhere. But I think that's a problem with every show. I think in general, also the show does a good job of making itself feel like it's a little special. You get breakfasts and you get beignets.
I mean, you can't argue with beignets.
You can't argue with beignets. You get a little jazz trio. I don't know. I do think, like you said, in the media room this time, I noticed that they obviously bumped it up a notch from Nashville. Like there was actual swag for us to check out from different brands. Yeah, I think they do take it very seriously that they put on a quality event from a feel perspective. How does it feel to be here? Do you feel you're taken care of? Do you feel that this is a premium event?
Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, there were definitely, some of the things I noticed, definitely more OREC offices that were supporting emerging brands from their states.
Right.
Maine, Oregon, Michigan, my home state,
Saw that.
Was here, and maybe more that I missed. So that was great to see. The start of materials brands showing up, which obviously was a huge part of VOR and ISPO back in the day, right? But we had Pertex, we had Gore-Tex, we had Ripstop, and a few more I probably missed. So that was cool to see. We had service providers like New Order, Elastic Suite locally showing up. So It was definitely it was a mix
Yeah,
of
it
some
really
different
was.
folks. Yeah. Okay, before we get into our impressions on specific booths, here's a word from our sponsor, Endeavor. Listen, after 12 years as the CEO of an outdoor retail chain, I can tell you exactly how the game is won or lost. It's on the sales floor. When a customer walks into your shop, they're looking for an expert and a recommendation. But as a brand, how do you stay top of mind when your reps can't be in the store 24/7? Usually, by the time your brand message hits the floor, it's lost its punch. That's why I love what Endeavor is doing. They give brands a direct line to over 140,000 frontline associates right on their phones. So brands can deliver product education and sales incentives directly to the people actually talking to the customers. For my fellow retailers, it's a game changer for team confidence and motivation across every brand you carry, and it's 100% free to you. For brands, it takes about 5 minutes to get a campaign live. Head over to endeavor.io, and Endeavor is ENDVR.io, to grab some free starter credits and see the sell through impact for yourself before you spend a dime. So, from a layout perspective, what I thought was interesting is that the state orgs were off to the side but towards the front.
Yes.
But on the back were the main sponsors, Merrell and North Face.
Yeah, I saw that. They were kind of tucked back there. I think it was interesting, but I didn't mind it. I mean, we all know who Merrell and North Face are.
Sure.
And so I kind of like that right up front, Big Sky. Big Sky is not a big brand. I mean, and he just kind of had his tents and the pillow laying out there. But I must have spent like 15 minutes talking to this man about those tents and that pillow because they were just right there in front, nothing fancy, but the pillow was very exciting for me as somebody who backpacks. I was like, tell me more about your Ultra Lux ultralight pillow. I liked that was kind of the layout. I thought it was interesting because normally you'll have the big brands up front and it's flashy and it's exciting. You're like, oh, I'm at a trade show. And this did feel a little bit more focused on highlighting, in general, like I said, smaller brands, up and coming brands. I also think in general it was a less flashy show.
Okay.
You know, I didn't see quite the booth creativity that we sometimes see at shows. There were some, which we'll talk about.
Yes.
But yeah, it felt a little more understated to me that way too.
Okay. Speaking of booths, the last time we did Switchback, we called out
Merrell on
bad
Merrell.
booths. And actually, I feel bad about calling out Merrell for breaking the rules because I didn't realize that as a platinum sponsor, they paid more money for that. They helped to support the show. And I think they may even have paid for the welcome party. So I feel a little bit bad.
I think, yes, they did. Thank you, Merrell. We love you. We're so sorry.
We do love you. And they're a Michigan brand, so I really can't.
That's true, Owen. What's your deal?
Wow. I feel bad.
Stop drinking the haterade.
But also on that pod, we did call out some of the booths that were less than. We did. And we were able to blame the audience because we asked the audience, should we call them out? And they said, yes.
Yes, now do we just blame you since this is your podcast?
This is my fear, yes.
Yes, it's true. Hey, listen, I'm kind of a podcast hostage right now. We're in the room. I have to do whatever Owen says, so please take this all with a grain of salt.
Okay, so in that vein, I'm going to blame Colin.
Actually, that's a good one. Let's just blame Colin
okay, good.
for instigating the idea in the first place.
100%. Because Dave would want us to do this too.
Yeah.
I mean, Dave is the booth purveyor. So here we go. Okay, so who were some of the less than booths on the floor?
80% of the booths.
Wow, 80%?
There were so many booths that were just like, here's a rack of stuff. Here's a table of stuff.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, I think because obviously you get the rod and drape, the rod and the black drape, and then there were a lot of booths that were a sign and a couple of racks.
Yeah, and listen, I get it. You know, there was a new what was it? It's a date gel. Hang on,
Date gel.
Date fix. The booth was just like, here's our gels. But I will say, I was curious enough to walk over, and they do, imagine you've got a goo or something that's all like goopy chemicals and carbs and whatever. This is all, it's just like dates and I don't know what it was, orange blossom water. It was some fancy shit. I walked over there, even though it was just like, here's our product on a table, because I was curious about, literally, I was like, there's just dates in here? Tell me about this. But like I'll give them a pass. The new brands to me always get a pass if they don't really know what to do and
Right.
whatever.
Or have the budget.
Yeah.
Right.
But I feel like there were some established brands that maybe didn't show up.
Didn't
really.
bring it. Okay.
I think Salewa was one that I noticed that was just, it just felt like there was nothing to it. There was just some guys sitting behind a draped table and maybe a few shoes behind them. And I was a little surprised. It was one of the brands that had invited me to come visit the booth. And I was like, oh, this is all you got? Okay.
Yeah.
You're an established brand. You're a legacy
amazing.
brand of some sort. It wasn't great, but.
It wasn't awful. It wasn't. So for me, flew low.
Oh, Dave would love that. He'd be so proud of you.
Another one for me was Cloudveil.
Oh, yeah. That was pretty minimalist.
It was minimalist. And yeah, so somebody asked me, like, Cloudveil is here? And well, yes.
Were they?
Well, yes,
I mean,
they were.
kind of.
Yeah, well, yeah. I mean, the person who owns the Cloudveil license now was here. Yes. Is it the Cloudveil of your? No, unfortunately. But that's a whole other podcast. Any others that stuck out to you?
Oh, I feel like I was trying so hard to focus on who was doing well. Like I wanted to champion some things.
Okay.
So I feel like we'll leave it at that.
Okay, fair enough. So in that vein, let's switch to the booths that we liked.
Yes.
So we'll let you go first. Ladies first.
Why, thank you. I'd say the first booth that I really noticed was actually the Snow Peak booth, and they were in the back. But I went straight down the middle aisle when I got here this morning, and I saw a tent set up, and then I see all their fancy titanium things, and it's like I wanted to hang out in their booth.
I did an interview with the brand manager
fantastic.
of Snow Peak, which we'll release on a later pod. But yeah, their stuff is so
I love
beautiful.
their stuff. My Snow Peak spork comes with me everywhere.
So for me, and I'll be accused of bias here, but I think it's warranted, was the Fjällräven booth.
Oh,
they did a lovely job. A lot of wood. We had some height. It wasn't a second story. Let's be clear.
What did we have? Some height?
Height.
Height?
Yes, height.
Height. We call it height, but okay.
Yes. But no, really, it was a presence.
Yeah.
Clearly, they invested some time and some money to be there, so I appreciate it.
Yeah, I feel like Fjällräven and Teva always kind of show up. They're like, this is our booth, we're going to make it tall, you're going to see us, but we're going to make it kind of natural. We like the outdoors.
There was I would say probably a linking factor in almost all of the nice booths was some sort of blonde wood.
Yes.
That was.
Yes, there is a blonde wood bias at the trade show.
Whether it's Life Straw or Teva or Fjällräven, or even another one that I liked was Life is Good.
Oh yeah.
Which had a whole bar.
They did that, and that's a brand that I don't normally like seek out at a trade show.
Sure.
I know what they do. They make cute T-shirts, whatever.
Yeah, right.
But yeah, I appreciated that they went a little extra mile.
Did they have any booze though at the happy hour? I mean, that would have been.
I didn't make it there for happy hour, alas.
Okay.
I was in the Dometic line.
Okay.
I was waiting to get my special fancy tumbler, my fancy tumbler with the multi. Did you know they're doing? So Dometic has these tumblers, and they have like a full system that they're developing with interchangeable caps. So. I like it from a sustainability perspective. I can't wait to see it in action. I think it's a few months out for some of them, but there's going to be like a tea strainer. There's a magnetic one where you can put your phone on there and use it as a selfie device.
Sure.
I don't know. I know some of this stuff is in the works still, but it was pretty exciting and worth waiting in the line for my delicious gin drink.
Okay. All right. Any other booths that stuck out to you?
You know, listen, I always have to go to butt napkins. So at I think at TRE, I stopped by the booth as I do because I love their name. And they asked me like, all right, if we were going to make another product, what do you think it should be? And I was like, bidet. You know I'm in love with bidets.
Sure.
Guess what? Did you stop by, Eoin?
I did not.
They saw me and they're like, guess what? We did it. And they produced a bidet. It's not out yet. It's coming out. I think they said I could talk about it. If not, oops. But they made a bidet. It's a little black squeezy bottle with a telescoping bidet handle, which I love, or bidet head. Wand. A magical bidet wand.
Yes.
And it has the cutest name. It's the submarine because, it's the submarine, and I wrote it down. The submarine, built to go below.
Oh.
Yes.
They went there.
Yes, they did. I also loved, by the way, the date fix guy. This is what he said to me. And it's just straight face. This guy was very intense, by the way. We want to weaponize this product to fix a broken food culture.
Whoa.
Okay. And he's like, no, I'm serious about that. And I believed him. I was like, all right, dude, let's go.
Okay. Any other interesting products that you saw on your journey?
Well, I was very into the Lux Fly that you are sad I didn't hear that episode of Rock Fight, a podcast I've never heard of.
Never heard of.
No, I was shocked. They had like a chili relleno with burrata. And she even said, she's like, when you make it, the cheese pulls, like it has a pull. You're a genius.
Yes.
Anyway, excited to try their stuff.
Because you're going to take it onto a backpacking trip?
I am actually, yes, I leave next week, or this week, depending on when this comes out. But yeah, I'm heading out for a couple of weeks. I'll be up in the Sierras, so I'm hoping to test the Big Sky pillow. I'm gonna take some of the Lux Flies out with me, maybe a few other things. I've still got a bunch of booths I wanna sit and spend time at tomorrow, but
sure.
Very exciting for me. I got to see Arn had so Arn is the backpack, you talked about it in the Rock Fight, but they've got the front pouches. They are, along with just how I was saying about Dometic, I saw several brands at the show that are thinking more modularly about their products and incorporating small but meaningful changes that I think make sense because you can individualize it a bit more.
Right.
So Arn was one of those. They're like, hey, listen, we've done this, this, and this, and to just make it even more customizable. And I really appreciate that because I think it's people getting feedback and really thinking who is using our product and who isn't but could be. Like, how can we change this for them? So I love that.
Yeah, actually, I interviewed Travis from GRAYL, who's one of the founders of GRAYL. So they have a new line called the Carry Project, a new pack line.
Okay.
But it's all built on modularity. So there's this huge like Velcro piece, and there's all kinds of Molly whatever chain thing.
Okay.
Where you can hook things into.
Oh yes. Okay.
Whatever that is. But you can totally modularize this thing with different bits and bobs and whatever. But yes, I agree. It's a very interesting concept.
I like that. I think it's smart because you're thinking about the end user. It's like, even going to the Rumpl booth, I didn't really expect, I'm like, all right, Rumpl, sure, I'll stop by.
Right.
I know what Rumpl does, right? But even going to Rumpl, it's like the little things they've got, what was he calling it? They've got like cinches now at the bottom of their classic, the Pro. They've got a foot cinch, then they've got this little clip in the middle so you can wear it like a cape if you want. And it's little details like that show that brands listen to the people giving them feedback, whether it's testers, whether it's just the everyday people using their product. I like that because it doesn't always, innovation doesn't always have to be some big, enormous thing. We like to see it, but sometimes it's these small things that make things more usable in your everyday. I mean, thinking about the Dometic tumbler, it's like, oh, you know what? I'm sick of having 900 water bottles. We do not need more Hydro Flasks in this world. Sorry, I love you, Hydro Flask. But having a tumbler where you can change the lid type to be a lid you might use with a hot beverage or a lid you might use with a cold beverage, steep your tea in it, whatever, attach it with a carabiner, hold it like a coffee mug. It's the little things, but it somehow now multiplies that into being the 6 mugs you have at home, but in one product. So I'm excited about that.
All right. So in terms of the show itself, what do you think Switchback 3 should look like? Where should it be? When should it be? Where does it need to improve?
I think for it to make sense for a lot of the brands, they just have to get more retail buyers in. That just has to happen. And for that to happen, they have to think about timing a little bit different. Listen, I love New Orleans, maybe not always in June, but lovely to come here, lovely place. But yeah, if you're gonna hold a show in the South and thinking about, there's another regional show happening at the same time in the same place, you're losing like such an easy audience.
Right.
So that was a miss, and I don't know what got scheduled first, but I think they're just gonna have to think a little bit more about that end of things, because I think from a cultural perspective, Switchback is doing a great job. I think people have a positive association with Switchback now. I think them, launching Switchback 1 last year, it was such a positive experience that they have momentum. It's just about thinking intelligently about how to continue growing this. This could be the show.
Sure.
It could be the new OR. We talked about that last time. But to do that, you have to kind of keep all the end users happy, especially the ones who need this to be a money-making event for them, or need their money to at least go where it needs to go and feel like they've spent on the right thing.
Yeah, no, I agree. I think they've made some meaningful, good moves in the right direction, but that's the next level. Because if you're going to be a national show, if that's your goal, you have to do a national show for everybody, for all the constituents, whether that be the brands, the the retailers, the influencers, the organizations all need to come together in the same spot. So, but no, good energy. Had some great conversations at the happy hour right now, but how do we take the energy outside the hall, even beyond the happy hour? And because that was a big part of what OR was, all of the
Right,
brand parties
exactly.
and all those things. So I
But
think
I
there's
think
more
as
to
it
be,
grows,
I think
yeah.
there's more to be done there. But yeah, I think hopefully more to come.
I think so. I mean, I'm rooting for Switchback. I want this to work. I think it's great. I love the vibe. I feel like there's a real potential here to create sort of that, not just the nostalgic feeling, but also the like good business of OR back in the OR glory days. So we're rooting for you, Switchback.
Okay. All right. Well, on that note, we're going to wrap it up. Thank you, Shawnté Salabert, for joining me
I know.
on my pod.
Wow. Thank you, Eoin
Yes.
Comerford, for having me on your pod.
Before we get to my conversation with Sean Smith, here's a word from our sponsor, Crux Retail. Every brand has been there. You walk into a retailer selling your products, and they're nowhere to be seen. Eventually, you find them on a shelf or a four-way. No brand story, no feature callouts. The packaging or hang tags are expected to do all the work. That's where Crux Retail comes in. They design interesting and engaging custom retail fixtures for outdoor active brands like Yakima, Dometic, Wahoo, and Cliff Bar. Whether you need 50 displays or 500, the industrial designers at Crux Retail will engineer a custom solution that makes your brand shine and converts store visitors to buyers. Go to crux-retail.com to book your discovery call today. So I'm excited to welcome back to the pod Mr. Sean Smith, event director for Switchback, to give us his impressions of how things went. Sean, first of all, how are you doing?
I'm doing great.
You've gotten some sleep?
I got a little sleep last night, not much. And because of the weather yesterday morning, before things even got started, we were all very, very early. So I think I went to bed after being up for 21 straight hours. But hey,
Oh,
that's life in the event business, especially the B2B event business, and that's okay. It's part of the deal.
yeah, I got the Amber Alert at 5:45 a.m. that there was a tornado warning. Yeah, it was fun. Anyway, we certainly can't blame Switchback for that. So, big question is, how do you think it went?
Yeah, I mean, I think it went great. I'm always, when it comes to events, been doing events for such a long time. I'm also my hardest critic, not just myself, but in terms of not really the team, but just how an event can come out. What are the things we can do better? So as soon as something ends, it's nice to celebrate all the hard work. And by this afternoon, we'll be looking at all the things that we can do to improve for next year. I mean, that's the only way you can do that. We spent a lot of time on the floor yesterday, talking to exhibitors, getting their feedback, talking to the retailers that were there. So that's important to do is on site is to get that feedback, and then as a team kind of go through and download everything. But to answer your question in general terms, we thought it was great. I mean, the conference day on Tuesday could not have gone better. It was just fantastic. I applaud our team for putting together just such an amazing sessions and so organized and well run and polished. I believe we really provided, a great energy, a good atmosphere. A lot of what we have said over and over, a lot of little things build up to big things. And I think B2B events had gotten away from that after the pandemic. I think there was a time where we just forgot to pamper people, forgot to take care of attendees with food and gift bags and the things that make going to these events special, and tells our attendees, you mean a lot to us, and we're really glad you're here. We want you to feel comfortable and have a great time and not worry about things.
Absolutely. And I agree. I think the day zero, if you want to call it that, or the education day, solid lineup, including yours truly. Also, definitely felt taken care of. It was just a well put together show. Happy hour was fun. Had a great New Orleans vibe, good food, good booze, good energy. But really it comes down to the show itself. I think everybody that was there enjoyed lots more brands. We probably had what, maybe 100 more brands than was at the first Switchback.
Not quite 100, but probably 30 more out of, I mean, new brands, new hadn't participated in last year. Yeah, it was close to 100 in total terms, 30 more than last year. And out of the total exhibit base, probably close to 100 that were new to Switchback, which is great to hear.
Absolutely. So I think if there was a critique, it was that the volume of retail buyers wasn't there. I talked to a bunch of people towards the end of day one, and it was like, yeah, it's a little slow. I've had some good conversations, quality over quantity, but not the number, especially of specialty retailers that they maybe had hoped to talk to.
We heard that too, and you know me, we've spoken before. I've been on when Colin was doing David doing the rock fight. You know, I'm a pretty transparent person. I'm happy to be honest and take critique where it comes. And yeah, we'd love to see more retailers on the floor. That is our main goal. We've got the brands. There's no question about that.
100%.
We've got big name brands. We have emerging brands, far more emerging brands than I thought we would, which is a great sign,
Hmm.
which means things. Yeah, and I will get to your retailer question in a second. The brands were there. There's no question about that. The diversity of brands is great, actually. And I think we've done a really good job of protecting the integrity of the brands on the floor.
Hmm.
We're not selling booth space to brands that are irrelevant or even remotely irrelevant just for the sake of filling booth space. And we will hold true to that. So we need to take that same approach with retailers as well. And it does take time. You know, we're the new kid on the block, quote unquote. The general consensus is the momentum's there, the vibe, the energy, it's there. So now we just need to keep working and get those retailers there. We've got to partner with our brands on the floor of making sure word is getting out to the retail base through our exhibitors as well. You know, it obviously didn't help being partially on top of, another event on top of 360. It
Right.
was never our intention. It was never anything we wanted to go that way. For those that have done this for a while know how challenging it can be. That somebody had asked me several times during the event, what's the criteria you pick for why New Orleans? How'd you end up in New Orleans? Getting the right dates, getting the right location, getting an area or convention center where the union is lax enough to allow our exhibitors to build their booths themselves as opposed to charging them an arm and a leg to do simple work.
Sure.
Those are things that are really important. And since last year, that was difficult to find that time. So the news isn't announced yet. It'll be announced next week. Our dates will change, and that's going to help drastically. We won't
Right.
be on top of anybody.
Okay.
And so more on that to come. But, I believe that was one of our biggest drawbacks in terms of getting retail. So it's making sure the
100%.
dates work.
Hmm.
Yeah, make sure we're not overlapping, especially on the specialty side. It's a crowded time period,
Sure.
and they want proof that coming is going to make a difference versus all the other events they're trying to get to.
Right, because that 360 show was the one in Greenville, which covered the Southeast, which was a lot of the retailers who probably would have made the trip to New Orleans.
Absolutely.
And then obviously specialty, a lot of the top specialty retailers were at GOA Connect with many of the same brands just the week before. So yeah, I think the timing definitely worked against you from a retail buyer perspective.
It did. It did. And again, it was not because of any sense of entitlement. This is where we belong. Everyone forget everything else. We do speak with other event producers often, not all of them as much as we could. That will be changing very soon. There's, a number of us have been talking recently to get together to talk about dates and be more collaborative, be more helpful to one another. So we believe that will help as well. You and I have spoken enough. You know that me personally, and therefore we as an event value specialty retail very highly. I mean, you've been doing this long enough, you realize even if the volume of dollars for exhibitors doesn't necessarily 90% of it may not come from specialty retail. Specialty retail is your base. It's everything. It starts there and it grows outward. It is the nucleus of everything you do. If you can't establish specialty, it's going to be very difficult to grow into a slightly bigger market if that's your go-to-market plan. So we need specialty retail there. And we believe when they start to discover us, those who haven't been yet, they're going to realize, wow, maybe I hadn't been around in the old days and realized there are events that will take good care of you while you're there and, provide breakfast and lunch and put you up in the best hotels and all those things that retailers, honestly, they deserve that.
Yeah.
They've had a tough year and they're on the front lines, and we're asking them to come out of their stores for days and days and weeks at a time. They deserve a little TLC without question.
As you said, I mean, it was a great show, a lot to see, a lot of camaraderie to be had, some good food, some good drink. So yeah, so hopefully next year with the date change, we'll see a few more retailers and continue moving forward.
Absolutely. That is definitely the plan, and we believe we're on the right path for that. We really do.
Okay, that's our show. Again, as a new pod, I'd really appreciate it if you would give us a follow and a 5-star review. It helps boost the pod so that other folks can discover us. It also helps you to not miss an episode so you stay informed and connected to our industry. If you'd like to reach out with your thoughts, guest ideas, sponsorship inquiries, inside intel, or whatever is on your mind, DM me on LinkedIn or email outdoorunfilteredpod@gmail.com. All contact and sponsor info is listed in the show notes. Outdoor Unfiltered is a production of Rockfight LLC. For Shawnté Salabert and Sean Smith, I'm Eoin Comerford. Thanks for listening. Hope to see you back here next week.